Herzlich willkommen in Engelberg. That's German, and it means heartfelt welcome here in Mount Angel, the Oktoberfest city of the Pacific Northwest. You know, if you look over my shoulder, you'll see the streets are rather empty today, and that is only because it is not Oktoberfest time in Mount Angel. But in September, when the festival comes about, these streets will be filled with thousands of people having a wonderful time, enjoying all that this great folk festival has to offer. As a matter of fact, we expect more than 350,000 people to come to town this year to celebrate with us. That's rather amazing when one considers there are only 3,000 citizens in this town. How does it happen? How do we do it? Well, the answer really lies in our history. And what I want to do is invite you back with me a little bit in time to understand some of the things that happened in the past that make Mount Angel what it is today. Come on and take a walk back with me in time. The first German pioneer Catholic families arrived in this part of the Willamette Valley that we now know as Mount Angel in 1868. There were 8 families led by a German man named Robert Zollner. He and his family were farmers and had left Germany, came to the United States, started farming in the Midwest, and for any number of reasons decided farming wasn't very good there, hooked onto a wagon train and came west and stopped here in Mount Angel. He stopped here for 2 very good reasons. First of all, the countryside around here reminded him of his home in Bavaria, and secondly, being a farmer, he discovered that anything could grow here. He found a little spot just outside of town along a creek, just the sort of place he was always looking for. Here he grew his crops, here he raised his family, but you know what he liked to do best? In the morning, before he even brushed his teeth, he would get his rifle, go to his bedroom window, and shoot wild game from his window, deer, rabbits, and other things that were running around here in great abundance. Nowadays, you can't do that in Mount Angel anymore. Shortly after the arrival of Zollner, another German of great importance came to the valley here. His name was Matthias Butsch. Matthias Butsch was a learned gentleman and spent time writing letters back to the German-speaking newspapers back east, and telling the people about the great joys to be found here in this Eden at the end of the Oregon Trail. He explained to them that this was an agricultural land of bounty, and the Germans came, and they came in large numbers. Now, these early Germans were all Catholics, and at that time the nearest church was in St. Louis, about 10 miles from here. And in the 1880s, traveling 10 miles could be one heck of a tough job. And they would go to church on foot, on horseback, by mule cart, or whatever other means of transportation they would have. Well, Matthias Butsch decided that that wasn't a very good deal. And without ever talking to a priest or a bishop or anyone else, he organized the villagers to build their own church. He established his own lumber mill, and just a little bit north of where we're standing right now, he built the first St. Mary's Church. When the church was built, he went off to Oregon City, where the archbishop was located, and asked the archbishop to give him a priest. There was simply no priest available. But sometimes things happen that make things turn out just right. And half a world away from here, in Engelberg in Switzerland, way up in the Alpine country, was an old Benedictine monastery that had been there for over 1,000 years. Now, at the 1880s in Switzerland, things were kind of rough for the monks. Many of the monasteries had been closed and secularized, and the land giving back to the peasants. Well, the abbot at Engelberg decided to send a group of monks, led by Father Adelhelm Odermatt, over to America to find a new home for his Benedictine monks. And they came, and they too traveled across the plain, and finally ended up here in Mount Angel, just at the time that Matthias Butsch needed a priest. Matthias showed him the hill outside of town, and there they built their abbey. The actual first abbey was built at the base of the hill because they couldn't quite figure out how to get water up there. But in time, they moved the abbey to where it is currently located. Now, the building of the church, the arrival of the monks, and the arrival of the train station coming through Mount Angel ensured the survival of this community as an important settlement in the Willamette Valley. In 1886, the Benedictine sisters came to Mount Angel. They were led by Sister Bernadine Wachter, and they built the first brick building here in town. That building is still here and still serves as their home and is the Queen of Angels Monastery. The arrival of the monks and nuns has a profound impact on this region. They built schools, they built churches, they serviced people all around, and their influence here ensured that Mount Angel would develop into an important center of agriculture and an important center of Catholic learning and culture. The town was incorporated on April 3rd, 1893. If anything could be said about these early settlers, they were frugal, they were hardworking, and they knew how to celebrate. Very early on, we hear about harvest festivals being celebrated here in the village in the fall. What they would do is the people who lived in town and the farmers who lived around town would bring their produce to the festival, their prized farm animals, the crops that they grew, and they would display them. They would display their skills and their crafts. As early as 1913, we read about horse racing happening here in town at festival time. And the Indians would come in from the hills around town, and the Indians and the Germans on horseback would race up and down the streets as part of their festival. There were probably three components that were a part of the festival that are still a part of a harvest festival today, and that was music, food, and dancing. By the 1930s, flax becomes a major crop in this area, and the people decided to have a flax festival. Now, flax is a crop that produces fiber, and the fiber from flax is used to make fine linen. And fine linens made from the flax here in Mount Angel graced many a table throughout the North American region. By the end of World War II, with the introduction of synthetic fabrics, flax becomes unimportant and the crop kind of dies out in the area here. And with the dying out of the crop, we also have a dying out of the festival. Well, a German village without a festival simply is not a true German village. And the people in town got together and they decided to have a new festival, and they called it Dairy Days. Well, there was something quite wrong about Dairy Days. It just didn't fit. Under the theme, everybody needs milk sometimes, there were very few people that came to town to drink milk. What they wanted was music, food, and dancing. In 1966, the good people of Mount Angel decided to go back to their German roots and establish an Oktoberfest, a German festival based on the great festival in Munich. The first year, more than 39,000 people came to town. Shocked everyone. They never expected crowds like that, and the stories abound today on how the food booths ran out of everything by Friday night, and how the booth operators scurried all over this area, going to grocery stores, supermarkets, out to farmers' field to find anything they could sell to keep those early visitors happy on that first festival day. Now, more than 350,000 people come to town, and we use over 6,000 volunteers to make this festival happen. Der Maibaum, or the maypole, or as we call it here, the Tree of Trades, is an ancient symbol still found today in many Bavarian villages. What it is kind of like a town directory, and upon the maypole are symbols of the various crafts, trades, and skills practiced by the people, in this case, who call Mount Angel home. You'll see the various symbols of agriculture, of woodworking, ironworks. All these various things are shown here, and if you look at the two bottom branches, on the two bottom branches you see a symbol of the church and a symbol of the school, and they are the moral and the intellectual underpinnings of the community. Now, several times a year, the people would have festivals in their villages in Bavaria, and they would gather around the maypoles, and the different guilds would practice various dances. We still do that here in Mount Angel. At Oktoberfest, each day at noon, the school children gather around their maypole, and they do a maypole dance called the Webentanz, or the Weaver's Dance, which comes from the Weaver's Guilds. And what they do is they have this maypole with these beautiful colored streamers coming down from the top, and in dance steps they go about the tree several times and weave an intricate pattern coming down the tree. We like to say that the glue that keeps this festival together is the more than 60 food booths operated by nonprofit organizations from all over this area of the North Willamette Valley. For many of these organizations, Oktoberfest is their major fundraising activity of the year. People love to go grazing at the food booths. They move from one booth to another and sample all the grand things that are here to be had. You'll find all sorts of wonderful Bavarian goodies and German goodies, but you'll also discover that this Oktoberfest has become an expression of the area that we live in. And you'll also find things that make this area well known. You'll see elephant ears, you'll find tacos and burritos, you'll find just about everything that's good to eat, to include cotton candy, all sorts of sweet rolls, just lots and lots of fun. People just love it, and they spend a great part of the day going around. Father Emmanuel, our priest here, says that on the 4 days of Oktoberfest, all these goodies in the various booths have no calories at all. Another major part of the festival is the Arts and Crafts Show. We put on a great arts and crafts show. More than 70 artisans come here to town, set up their booths all around the village, and offer their homemade or their handmade crafts for sale. You can spend a lot of time just looking at them, or you can buy things and take home as great souvenirs of this festival. The Mount Angel Oktoberfest Beer Garden is our largest venue, over 18,000 square feet, plenty of room to do lots of dancing. It's an adult-only venue, and here we feature a premium U.S. beer, a great German beer, and lots of wonderful music. Here you can learn how to do the chicken dance. Remember that chicken dance? It tells the story of life. And what it is, it comes from someplace in obscurity in Central Europe, and it talks about the birth of a chicken. It starts off with the chick in its shell, and it pecks away on the outside of the shell until it's broken. Once the shell breaks away, it exercises its wings, shakes out its tail feathers, and free of the shell at last, it swings around an ever more glorious circle, saying, "Free at last, free at last." And that's the excitement we want you to have in the beer garden, the excitement of freedom, great fun, great music, good food, and all the things that make this festival so super. After visiting the beer garden, the next place to come is the Mount Angel Wine Garden. It's a wonderful spot. It has all the ambiance of a great festival hall on the Rhine River someplace in Germany. And here you'll find grand German wines, Northwest wines, and some of the very best wines of our own state of Oregon. Here you'll find our German beer. We bring it all the way over from the old country so you can savor its delights right here in this village of Mount Angel. And here you will also find our own Mount Angel Oktoberfest beer. But the thing that you really like in here is the entertainment. We put some of our very best entertainment into this hall. You'll meet here the original Donau Musikanten, a German festival band that we fly all the way over from Bavaria in Germany just to be here with you. And we thank Lufthansa Airlines, who has been bringing that band here to our festival for the last 7 years. You'll also find the Z Music Makers, a family band with strong roots right here in Mount Angel that entertain each afternoon. People just love them, and the hall fills up every time they perform. Another great thing with all that great music and all the wonderful drinks that we have to go in here, you also have some wonderful food. St. Mary's Parish booth offers fondue of the Rhineland flavor. They offer wonderful sausages, pretzels, and everything else that you need to have a wonderful afternoon in our village wine garden. The Oktoberfest Micro Garden is located in a 10,000 square foot garden covered by a huge white tent. It is laid out in the form of a Bavarian village festival tent. The entire family can take an active part in the entertainment while savoring a variety of refreshments from the side street shops. In the festival tent, you can learn to yodel, play cowbells or alpine horns, join in some fun-time sing-alongs, or simply shunkel, swing and sway to the sounds of the alpine music. Meet entertainers like Bavarian-born Septi Polder. Let's listen a bit as he plays the familiar third-man theme on the 40-string zither. Wasn't that fun? In the microgarden, you will want to sample the very best handcrafted beers from our region. Beck's famous German beers, gourmet coffees, deli foods, and marvelous pastries. Even if you don't have a drop of German blood in you, we know that you will leave the microgarden loaded down with Gemütlichkeit, that very special, warm Bavarian feeling. The village bandstand right here in the center of the festival area offers free, non-stop entertainment all 4 days of the festival. Here you'll find some really wonderful Bavarian treats. You'll meet Master Yodeler Kerry Christensen, who is one of the few professional bravura yodelers anywhere in the United States. He comes to our festival each year, oft times with his daughter Emily, and they put on a great show for you. You'll meet Swiss yodelers, Sandy Gernhardt and Lisa Ward. Lisa's been with the festival now for over 30 years. She comes back every year and is well loved by all the people who come here. Here you will also meet Mount Angel's own Marion County Citizens Band. 60 volunteer musicians who gather every Monday night here in the village to practice up their music. They put on concerts all over the state during the year, but for the 4 days of Oktoberfest, they're right here on this bandstand. They are wonderful musicians, and they do a great job, and people just love them. Here in the evening, on Friday and Saturday evening, we have the all-free street dances. And these dances just bring huge crowds of people, mostly young people, who just frolic away all evening long and have a grand time. Kitty corner across the street from us here, from the bandstand, is the Village Theater. And here the Cabaret Magnifique puts on grand cabaret in the European style. We'll put on some of the very best music from such great musical features as The Merry Widow, The Sound of Music, The Student Prince, and all these other wonderful songs. They'll put on 19 shows, and you want to make sure that you catch at least one of those shows. The Mount Angel Oktoberfest Kindergarten is a great hit with children of all ages. It runs on Saturday and Sunday of festival weekend. It features the Let's Pretend Circus, the great artissimo and magician that will just dazzle your children and will dazzle you too at the same time with his great feats of magic and a great banter that he carries on as he's putting on his show. Here you'll find the 4-H petting farm. Now this is a grand place. Here the 4-H club brings in all these grand farm animals, ducks and geese and little cows and pigs and you name it, they're here. And the children learn how to care, groom, and feed these animals as part of an educational program and also a very entertaining time for the kids. The 4-H petting farm is not like one of these petting zoos you see in the mall. These are real nice animals and they're not under stress and they enjoy being here as the children enjoy having them here. There are lots of kids rides, these turnaround cars and these bouncing rides, and they're all free. You can take your kids there and let them spend the all day on Saturday and Sunday and never have to reach in your wallet. Think about any other festival you can go to and have that happen for you. The Cruising Car Show is located in the parking lot of St. Mary's School, just right across the street from the church. It is actually 2 shows in one on Saturday and Sunday. The Saturday show will feature over 100 vehicles, the best of class from the 1930s through the 1990s. You'll find all types of vehicles here, and over 25 prizes will be given out each day in a number of different categories. The same type of show appears again on Sunday with another complete set of cars, numbering over 100 cars. So in the 2 days of the festival, you can see 200 examples of some of the very best automobiles from our American history. What would a great folk festival be without sports? And the Mount Angel Oktoberfest offers a wide variety of sports that you can take part in or simply watch. There's a high school football classic on Friday evening, right at our own JFK well-lighted football field. We have men and women's softball tournaments. We have a golf tournament. We have girls volleyball. And probably the nicest thing, for those of you who don't want to really overdo it, we have a splendid Volkswalk. Now, you know what a Volkswalk is? You just come down here and you start right at the Chamber of Commerce information booth. They give you a little map, and you walk around town. And the walk takes you up over Abbey Hill, where you get the most splendid views of this great part of the Willamette Valley. And it takes you on down by St. Mary's Church, and takes you by the school, and out by the fields where everything grows so beautifully at this time of the year. And then it brings you right back into the festival area, where you can go into one of our venues, sit down, relax, and enjoy the good music. Whenever you come to Mount Angel, be it at Oktoberfest time or any time of the year, be sure to visit St. Mary Church. It is perhaps one of the finest examples of the revival Gothic style to be found anywhere here on the West Coast. With its 200-foot steeple, it acts as a magnet drawing tourists from all over the area. It can be seen from any direction as one comes to town. And within the steeple are 4 marvelous bells that still ring and call us to God's service. Here inside of the church, you can see the beauty of the Gothic, characterized by its vaulted ceilings, the long tender columns with their capitals, the beautiful shrines and altars, the painting, and the many stained glass windows. The stained glass windows in this church are one of its greatest features and probably the best collection of unified stained glass you will find anywhere in the area. The church right now is somewhat empty, but that's not the way it is on Sundays when we have services here, or during Oktoberfest time when we have many free concerts. The church fills up to occupy almost every seat. During the Oktoberfest, you can have a wonderful time by coming in here and listening to some of the great concerts. You will find the Cascade Bells, the handbell chorus. We have the Sound of Joy singers who do music from the German, Latin, and English traditions. We have a harpsichordist who comes in and plays the harp and with a flute to accompany her. These performances are all free, and they are probably crowned by the Festival Chorale Oregon here on Friday evening, putting on a beautiful concert. The Festival Chorale is one of the premier singing clubs in Oregon, and come to Oktoberfest every year just to perform in this church. No trip to Mount Angel is complete without a visit to Mount Angel Abbey or the Queen of Angels Monastery here in town. The Abbey, located on the hill outside of town, was founded over 100 years ago. And on Saturday and Sunday of the festival, buses leave from right here near the bandstand to take pilgrims up to the hill every half hour. While you're up there, there are 2 beautiful museums you can visit. The great Abbey Library with its wonderful collection of historic and hand-illuminated books, and take a look at the countryside from the top of that hill. You'll get no better views of this great part of the Willamette Valley. Also visit the Queen of Angels Monastery, the home of the Benedictine Sisters, the oldest brick building here in town. The sisters offer free walking tours on Saturday and Sunday of their grounds, and would just love to entertain you and show you around. The harvest in Mount Angel has been celebrated for over 100 years. We continue this celebration today with the Mount Angel Oktoberfest, the best-loved folk festival in the Pacific Northwest. You need to come back to Mount Angel and continue the celebration with us each year and rediscover the warmth, friendliness, hospitality, and joy that is Oktoberfest. Mount Angel Oktoberfest begins each year on the second Thursday after Labor Day and runs through Sunday.